Every morning is an opportunity to connect with Jesus. Whether you're looking to get started or looking to grow more, DDPC is for you. Join us as we connect with Jesus together.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Daily Devotions with Pastor Chris. It is my joy to be with you today on our 970th episode. That's right, 970. We entered into a new category. So super exciting to be able to share that with you. What a crazy weather day it is today. Outside, it's gloomy and eerie in a weird way. Like we had a little snow, a little ice last night, 2-hour delay for the students this morning. But then the fog is thick, man. And I think it's because it's warming up. So there's like steam or whatever the fog in there. Anyway, it's out of my periphery. So I'm seeing it. I'm like, wow, that looks really either eerie or super beautiful. It kind of depends on your perspective, I suppose. But anyway, it's a joy to have you today. Like I said, 970th episode. So hurrah for that. While many of you are still popping on, just want to welcome all of you who are new to DDPC, and you have found us either by accident or by invitation from another person, or maybe you went out seeking devotional video lives, and so that's what this is. So what kind of, not that we're the only one, there's thousands of people that do this, but what kind of sets us apart from most is that we are live in real time, and unless you catch us on replay. And so the community that's in the chats are live, and so whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, we're here, and so hope that you take advantage of that. All right, well, let's go ahead and get going this morning, because that's why we came here, right? Let's see here. Let me just pull my notes up a little bit so I can see them a little better. Today, like I said, 970th episode. Last night at the church, we launched this semester of Courageous Men's Group, and we had great night. Had a bunch of guys came out, and it was so good to see so many old faces, but also to see so many new first time guys like coming to men's group. I mean, it's so amazing to me that they come out and they give it a try, and I don't know, it's crazy. Like what amazes me is how many guys come by themselselves. Like they don't have to necessarily come with a friend. A lot of times that's the thing. It's like, all right, I'll go to your event, but are you going? I want you to go with me. I don't want to go by myself and just show up and you're like, hey, here I am. Like that's how I feel. I'm good about going to places, but I want to go with somebody who I know. So at least I have one friend, that's there. And it's tough. It's tough for especially for the men to get there. I mean, it's tough for anybody, but obviously you make time for what's important, but it's in the middle of the week. It's the work week. It's hard for guys to get there between 6:30 and 7. And we do have wings that, at the front end and whatever, but it's hard to get there. You get home, you get showered or cleaned up from work, and you kind of kiss your wife and your kids, and you're like, all right, I'll see you guys later. And it's this push pull. I could be spending time at home with my family, or I could go to this Bible study, but then to see the dedication, like I saw that we had one guy that came last night, and I had texted him just to remind him that men's group was starting, and that I hope to see him there. And he was working in upstate New York, and he had a 2-hour drive, and he was like, listen, I don't know that I'm going to make it out of here in time. And he didn't get there in time. He got there late, but he came. And I was like, bro, you just worked all day and you had a 2-hour drive and you came straight to church. That was impressive to me. And and that so it was cool. I had another guy that was there that, I mean, it was clear when he came in that he was not right. And he had been tending to his very, very sick mom and in the hospital, and he stepped out to come to men's group to get fed, and man, I was I just think that that's not crazy. I think it's like crazy cool that somebody would do that. I had another guy who had just worked a 17 almost 17 and a half hours worth of work, and man, like after that kind of a day, I would have gone to bed. But he was there and he was happy to be there. It's like, let's go. Like, it's time, and all of them strolled in after all these guys that I was just mentioned, strolled in at various times, and it wasn't as we started, so it's like, in other words, they were late, and some of them very late. And I will tell you, like, that's a reason not to come. Like, if you, I mean, I get a couple minutes, but if you're already, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, you're like, I'm not going to walk in late. Like, I'm not going to do that, because the way the room is set up, you like, everybody sees you, but they still come. And it just got me thinking a little bit. And, like on Sundays, for instance, on Sundays, many times, so we have 3 services. If you're not part of Cornerstone, we have 3 Sunday morning services, and many times I'll stay out in the parking lot in between services, and I'll greet people as they come in. And I like to do that because you're on your way in, and it gives me a chance to say hello, give you a hug, maybe have a 1-minute conversation. But then, I know that you got to get in and get your kids settled and get your seat and all that. So it helps me to be able to have quicker conversations and to be able to greet more people instead of getting, locked down in a big conversation with one person for 25 minutes, And it's not that I mind those conversations, it's that I'm trying to meet as many people as I can in between services. So anyway, my point is, I'll stay outside in the parking lot sometimes, and sometimes I'll stay out there all the way through the whole first song of worship, right? So worship is going on, and I stay out there. There's always people coming in. Like, there's always people that are driving in between, like through the first entire worship song and beyond, right? And they'll arrive 10 minutes late to church. And when they see me out there, it's like they see the principal, in the parking lot, and they're like, "Oh man, we got busted. We're late," and they'll apologize. "I'm sorry, I'm late, Pastor." That's not why I'm out there. I'm not keeping roll. I'm not upset. That I'm happy to see them, and genuinely, like, I'm like, "You made it, man. That's awesome," and yet every reason to turn around and every reason to just throw it onto the live stream and keep driving to the nearest deli and go have breakfast. And it reminded me of an illustration from famed author and speaker Philip Yancey. He tells of a story of a friend of his who was a recovering alcoholic, and he once said this. He said, "When I am late to church, often people will turn around and stare at me with frowns of disapproval. I get the clear message that I'm not as responsible as they are. But when I'm late to an AA meeting, that meeting comes to a halt and everyone jumps up and hugs me and welcomes me, because they realize that my lateness may be a sign that I almost didn't make it. And when I show up, it proves that my desperate need for them won out over my desperate need for alcohol." And man, I thought that is so, so true. And if AA can get this right, man, shouldn't the church be all the more right in this? So what does that have to do with you? And what does that have to do with DDPC this morning? Well, what I want to challenge you with today on this Wednesday morning, episode 970, is to Focus on other people's victories instead of shaming or guilting people for their failures, whether they're real failures or presumed failures. Because the truth of the matter is we don't know what anybody's going through, right? We don't know the backstory. Maybe, I mean, like let's take tardiness for instance. Perhaps they're just lazy. Perhaps they just snoozed their alarm 19 times and and meandered their way and just were lazy. Maybe. Or maybe they just worked a 17-hour shift, or maybe they just drove 2 hours to get to church, right, through New York traffic. Or maybe they've been caring for their sick mom in the hospital and their hearts are heavy. When people get to church, whether on time or late, and that's just an example, right? I'm talking about anything, right? So any victory that may not meet up to the standards of the norm, we have an opportunity to either shame that person or to celebrate the fact that they still came through. And I want to challenge you to focus on those victories rather than the guilt. The Bible says this in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24. It says, let us think of ways. Let us ponder for a minute. Let us sit back and just imagine ways that we can motivate one another to acts of love and good works and faithfulness and perseverance and obedience. Let us think of ways to motivate one another, right? In other words, it's one thing to get mad, and I am not saying we excuse bad behavior. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. If you've got an employee who's habitually, doing breaking policies at work, there needs to be discipline. That's not. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that your friend or your family member or your coworker, right, that may not, maybe they're just going through something and you don't have all the details, and they're not performing at a level that they normally do, or they've missed a few days of work, or they just haven't seen themselves or whatever, and you see them working at overcoming, right? Find ways to motivate them, find ways to encourage them, right? That's Hebrews 10:24. Ephesians 4:29 says this: let no corrupt talk come out of our mouths, but only such things as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Man, that is the exact message that I'm trying to share today on heralding people, on championing people. In other words, don't let corrupt talk come out of your mouth. Don't let things that are going to tear somebody down leave your mouth, right? But only for what's building up, as it fits the occasion, that it may give grace, blessing with somebody with something they don't deserve, to those who hear it, right? So today, I want you to look at your spouse, right, who is doing, maybe your wife is doing. I look at my wife, right, and she, man, like every morning, it is if we are up, man, and we got to get up and we got to help my son, to get out the door, right? And there's just a lot that has to be done, and in addition to and we don't, she makes like good breakfast, and on top of that, we have a lot of food allergies, so it makes food prep just longer, and it's just more complicated. And if there's food to be transported, it's more complicated than than a lot of prepackaged stuff, because there's a lot of stuff that my son just can't eat. So I look at her, and I see her staying up late at night looking up new recipes, and being on Pinterest or looking at forums and trying to find new things so he doesn't have to eat the same things all the time, right? And I see her getting up and making hot breakfasts that are well balanced, and preparing lunches, and making sure that he's got snacks, and making sure that he's got his basketball gear, and he's got his change of clothes, and that he has the $5 fee for this or that, or in that he's that he's all set up so that right after his basketball game, he gets to church in time because he's got practice, or he's got youth group, or and making sure that all of that works, right, while maintaining the household, and getting things ready, and doing her own study, and making sure that her work is done, and everything she's doing for discipleship, and taking care of all those details, while at the same time still working out in the morning, and cleaning, and helping me, and getting me out the door, and all the things that that they juggle. And man, like, there's so much that people do, and then sometimes they, like, if it just falls out of line, or if they get sick, or if they overslept, or whatever, and it's like this domino effect. Like, man, we can never just blame people. Like, I mean, look at your spouse and just be like, you know what, husband, you're amazing. Like, I am so impressed with you. You know what, son, thank you for being such a great young man. You know what, daughter, I am so proud of you. You are so graceful. You have such an ability to connect people. Like, just take a moment and just speak life into those people. Look at your coworker today and be like, and just tell them. I mean, I'm not saying make stuff up, but if you admire something, maybe it's something you're jealous of, maybe you look at your coworker and you're like, man, I am so impressed at how quickly you get those reports done. Those things take me forever. And you just have an ability to produce, and that is impressive. And I hope I could be like you. You have no idea what that does to people, right? And maybe you need to even encourage yourself. Celebrate the win today. Celebrate the win. Stop, like, in other words, don't focus on what you didn't do and what you can't do and what you should have done. Celebrate what you did do. I mean, listen, if you're a list person and you've got all your tasks for the day, and you get to the end of your day, and let's say you have 20 tasks to do, and you got 13 accomplished, but you didn't catch the last 7, don't focus on what you didn't do. You still got 13 things done in the day, man. And probably more than that, it just wasn't on your list. Celebrate the win, give yourself a break, lift yourself up, and just recognize, like, you did accomplish. You didn't sit on your hands all day and stare out the window and do nothing, right? So be intentional. Look for ways to encourage, build people up, and see if your words and your encouragement, maybe even your approval, can't set someone's day into the right direction, despite the pitfalls that could have set them on the path to a terrible day. Do you know how destructive it would be if one of those guys had come to men's group last night and I had pulled them inside and said, you know what, we started at 7:00, and really we started at 6:30. And by you coming in late, you've disrupted everybody, and everybody saw you come in, and everything that Pastor Kyle was trying to say, we missed that because you couldn't get here in time. You're a man. You should be more. I mean, how destructive that would be, right? Do you think that person's ever going to come back, right? And I'm not saying to manipulate. What I'm saying is recognize that people have stuff going on in their lives, and most of the time you have no grid for it. And even if in your purview what they're going through is small, to them it's not small. To them it's a giant. And so whether you agree with that, understand that, or can relate to that or not is irrelevant. The point is that the enemy is always out to isolate people. So don't be part of that solution, right? Be part of unifying the body of believers, the brothers and sisters in the Lord, right? That's the challenge for today. So I want to encourage you to look for ways to motivate and to encourage other people. And even if somebody frustrates you, just try to look at things through a different set of circumstances and filters, and think to yourself, okay, why are they acting the way they're acting? Why are they saying the things that they're saying? Are they just simply insecure? And and insecure people will say things to break other people down in order to make themselves feel important or feel good. Are they narcissistic? Do they have whatever? I mean, you can kind of read people and then just say a prayer and like say, Lord, let me be light in their life, and let me find the one thing that I can say, or the one gesture that I can do that will bless them. I don't need anything in return. I just want to bless them and be light in their life today. So, man, I don't know. This is such a detour from the direction we were on, but it's not. Like, we've been talking about walking in the Spirit. And I guess it really is walking in the Spirit because you're being led by the Spirit to say and to do those things. And again, I'm not saying just blow smoke, right? I'm not saying just make stuff up. I'm saying ask the Lord, and when the Lord gives you revelation, before you retaliate, before you act or react because of somebody's actions or lack thereof, ask yourself, Lord, how can I encourage and edify, and at the same time, bring correction, perhaps if it's necessary in this situation. So I don't know. I think that's for somebody, because that's the direction the Lord took me this morning, and so, man, I hope that blesses you, and that it gives you some direction on how to go about your day. And man, it doesn't stop today. It's like every day. Amen. So if you come to church and you're late and you see me in the parking lot, don't worry. I'm not keeping track. I'm literally genuinely happy to see you. So I hope that you're blessed by that. All right, that's it for me today. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being with us. If you can hang on for a little bit, I would love to give you a shout out, but I understand if you got to go. Some of you got to go shovel driveways, and others of you have to catch work, or you've got a variety of things going on, especially if you have 2-hour delays with your kids, and they're probably just now getting up instead of getting up at 5. So anyway, so Tom Keefe, good to see you, bud. Nice to have Samantha Endress and Dobie's lady. That's Janetta Dobler. Tony Fetchy, good to have you on. My friend, good to see you. Esther Grantham and Elizabeth Orlando and Diane Riley. Diane, I was reading email from one of your kids this morning. So just FYI. Maurice, good to see you this morning. Jackie Sullivan, thanks for being on. Sammy Feliciano, bro, you're becoming like a regular, man. I love it. It's good to see you so often. Mark G's Machines, nice to have you on, Mark. Good to see Scott Blakeman on as always. Sanmar, thank you for being with us. Saw 2 of the puppies, that Collins and Newt's puppies, and man, are they cute. And goodness, Jeanette Lynn Willis, hello there, my beautiful bride. Good to see you this morning, always. And I hope I didn't embarrass you. I was just using it as an example, and I wasn't trying to embarrass, but just like, I'm impressed by how you juggle everything, and I hope that blesses you. Justin Thomas, what's up, big man? Good to see you on this morning. God bless you. Grace Jimenez, thanks for being with us today. Grace Jimenez. Multitask can have an aha moment and realize that they should be doing something else. Men usually can't do that. That's true. See, edify and uplift. I'm sorry, I was reading some of your comments. There are plenty and good. Tamara, nice to see you on this morning. Andrea Clavin, nice to have you on, Andrea. Nice to see David Brazina. Pastor David. Nice to have you on, big man. I talked to our mutual friend the other day, and he said that he is setting up something for you and thought that he had something in to talk to you about. So I think you know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to share it over the whole airwaves because that's private conversation. So this is what happens. Sometimes I get on this live and I'm like, and I see some of you, I'm like, oh, and then I want to talk to you about things that we've talked about, and I forget that there's 60 other people that are listening. So forgive me if I say too much. All right, Colette and Tom Jagoda, God bless you guys. Hope you're having nicer weather than we are, because it's pretty. I mean, at least the sun's starting to come up now, so it's looking a little nicer, but not really. So, Rich Papsco, Tara Rose, John Cookson, Lauren Green, Scott Dobler, Marty Main, Eileen Thoma, Michael Willis, Kim Sikelski, Len Pace, Gene Hickman, Rocco Baldino, Kim Zabrowski. Good to see all of you this morning. Thank you for being on. Carly, thanks for joining us today. Yvonne and Denise LeBlanc, thank you for being on this morning. Laura and Dave DeFelice, my dear friends, love you guys. Thank you for being on today. Good to see Quinn and Shannon Levy on with us today. God bless the two of you. Thank you for being on. Jenny Lapone on today. God bless you, Jenny. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for being with us, Gladys Ortiz. Thank you for this 3 days in a row, Gladys. Telling you, all of you becoming regulars. I love it. Aunt Cindy on with us. Good to see you, Aunt Cindy. Deidre Mitchell on this today. God bless you, Deidre. Thank you so much. Bill Soderberg, what's up, Big Bill? God bless you, man. Good to see you on today. Melissa Morse on with us. God bless you. Excuse me. Jacqueline Campoli on today. Sherry Blakeman on this morning. Nick DeLugo is on today. God bless you, Nick. Renee Galuza is on with us. God bless you, Renee. Good to see Carrie Ann McAndrew. Good morning to you, Carrie Ann. Thank you for joining us on DDPC today. And author Jenny Lapone is on with us. Emily Griscom on today. God bless you. I see some people on here today that usually are working by now and they can't, heading to work and they can't always make it. So I guess you had some delays this morning, which is awesome for you. And you still chose to be on with us. So thank you for that. Athena Detlefs is on this morning. And that appears to be the end of the list. So God bless you all. Let's see, out of all that, it looks like only about 50% of you hung in there, but oh well, that's what it is. God bless you guys. Thank you for being on DDPC today. Hope you have a blessed day, and man, go win one for Jesus. All right. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.